Tēnā tātou katoa, good evening. With his reign still in its infancy, 75-year-old King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer.
Buckingham Palace has not disclosed what type of cancer or how far it has spread, only that it's not prostate cancer and that King Charles is stepping back from public duties for now. Europe correspondent Lisette Raymer joins us from London. Kia ora, Lisette. How is the King said to be reacting to the diagnosis?
Yes, well, Buckingham Palace has said the King is feeling wholly positive about his treatment, which has already started here in London, where he is being treated as an outpatient. It is the first time in history that the Palace has shared such a sensitive and potentially dangerous diagnosis about a senior royal, and already it is bringing the entire family back together.
Fresh from his release from hospital, the King was up, out and about, attending church in Sandringham just yesterday. But now prayers around the world are being dedicated to his speedy recovery, and it could be months before we see him in public again. The monarch diagnosed with cancer just days after surgery for an enlarged prostate. Last Monday, the King left hospital after 3 nights, with a smile, a wave and a few weeks of recovery written into the royal calendar. He appeared as well as could be expected. But when asked how he was, Queen Camilla chose her words carefully.
How's the boss doing?
He's getting on, doing his best, she replied, already knowing there was cause for worry, as she poignantly visited a cancer support centre. And in a statement, the Palace confirmed today that a separate area of concern was identified during the King's surgery. Cancer, but not of the prostate.
When you have treatment for benign prostate disease, obviously the pelvis and organs there are examined at the same time, and there may have been some preoperative tests that picked something up.
The news came after the King personally informed each of his family members, including Prince Andrew and Prince Harry. Despite years of very public feuding, his youngest son is now flying back to the UK from California to be with his father, although without his wife Meghan and their children. As heir to the throne, Prince William will step forward on extra duties, despite currently being on his own period of leave to support Kate after her abdominal surgery. It is less than 9 months since Charles III stood on the balcony of Buckingham Palace with his freshly fitted crown. The 75-year-old monarch had vowed to follow his mother's example, but he has chosen to be much more open about his health.
I have to say the most important thing is how transparent the Palace have been about his condition, and this is a completely unprecedented approach, and I think exactly the right approach to handling these moments of surprise.
The well-wishes have been sent swiftly from his friends in high places. From the US President Joe Biden.
I'm concerned about him, just heard his diagnosis, but I'll be talking to him, God willing.
And from around the Commonwealth.
Today, the thoughts of all Australians are with King Charles and his family. We wish him very much a speedy recovery. I will be sending a message to the Palace.
Our Prime Minister posted on X, "Kia kaha, King Charles. On behalf of all Kiwis, I wish His Majesty all the very best for a speedy recovery." King Charles will continue his duties behind palace doors, including his weekly meetings with the UK Prime Minister.
The King will be continuing to do the business of government. He will be working, reading the red boxes. The difference, as it makes clear, is that he won't be performing the public duties of monarchy.
The King's presence at Buckingham Palace usually signals a big occasion. This is surely momentous. But tonight, the royal standard flies with unwelcome winds of change.
Well, Lisette, as we heard there, this is a big change in protocol, announcing this publicly. Why is the King being so open about his diagnosis?
Yeah, it's certainly a major departure from what we've seen in the past with the likes of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. It has been reported, although never confirmed by the palace, that the Queen herself was also living with cancer in her final days. Prince Philip likewise was often heading to hospital and there was never any explanation or detail provided. Health matters have always been treated by the palace as very sensitive and private. Now, the reason for King Charles doing things differently could be twofold, really. The first being, as he says, a bid to prevent the speculation and also raise global awareness for these health issues. But secondly, it could be an indication of just how serious this diagnosis is. It's likely he will be out of action, off work for quite some time. Other royals will have to step in for him. And because of what we know about just how invasive cancer treatments can be, it's also likely he may look different when we see him again. So these are all of the elements that the palace would have been considering along with King Charles when they made that decision to go public.
OK, and Lisette, while he is unable to do the job, who is going to fill in for the King?
Yeah, so there is a concept called the Councillors of State, a group of 5 royals who are selected by the King to step in and help him if he can no longer fulfil the duties himself. Now, they're not all required at once. They work 2 at a time if the King is ill. Now, the obvious pairing there would be the Queen Camilla, and the Prince of Wales, Prince William. Less likely would be Prince Andrew or Prince Harry, and then it's Princess Beatrice who rounds out that group of 5. At the moment, the palace has said they are not needed in that capacity, given the King can still carry out those official duties, signing documents and reading the paperwork. Where he will need support is when it comes to public engagements, and that's where we're really expecting to see the Queen in particular step up and help out.
Our Europe correspondent Lisette Raymer there with the shock news of Prince Charles' cancer diagnosis.